Hi, you're listening to Adventist Radio London. This is the Family Matters show. I'm Ruth Maxwell.
And I'm Brian Maxwell.
And we are here with three wonderful people today. We are on location at the marriage retreat in East Horsley. It's been a fantastic weekend. We've met these wonderful people who have decided to come and share some of their story with us, which is absolutely brilliant. So, who have we got? Who are you? Please tell us your name.
My name is Tiwonge.
Wonderful.
I'm Nicola Tiwonge, and we're here with our 18-month-old daughter, Maya.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for coming along. And today we really just want to know a little bit about your story. So could you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, your cultural backgrounds? Maybe that will start there.
I come from Malawi.
Mm-hmm.
The culture is a bit conservative with everything. So when I first met Nicola, it was a bit weird, mm-hmm. because not many people have married a white person. Mm-hmm. So I mean, because I grew up in a family which isn't slightly on the middle, so okay. it was easier for me to get along with the love of my life.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And just tell us a little bit about you.
I'm English, born and raised, and I met Tiwonge when I went on a volunteering thing for 9 months. To a very remote part of Malawi that sits between Malawi and Mozambique.
Okay.
And I was encouraged to go there by a friend who told me, it's great, there's no men.
Okay, so you're on this mission, you're on this thing, and how did you meet? Tell us the story, we want the cinematic version.
I think we met on my first day.
Yeah. Just
after I arrived, I had a 16-hour flight.
Wow.
And then about 4 hours on the road. And I walked into my new job, mm-hmm. and there were 3 people in the office.
Yes,
and Tiwonge was one of them. Right. And so we were set to work together.
Yeah, in finance.
In finance. Yeah, we're both accountants.
All right.
And at first we were just colleagues,
okay.
And then we were friends, and then we were more than friends,
okay.
And then we weren't allowed to be more than friends. It was against company policy.
Wow.
So we left.
Wow. That is a commitment right there. Yeah. I want to rewind a little bit. When you said then we were friends, so tell us a little bit about how the friendship sparked. Was it certain interests? Who made the first move in terms of the friendships and that kind of thing?
So the district in Malawi where we're working with mm-hmm. together was mm-hmm. a very remotest district in the country.
Yeah.
So to even find nice food was really scarce. So mm-hmm. I mean, I grew up and my mom taught me how to cook.
Okay.
So I was cooking very traditional Malawian food, mm-hmm. which attracted Nicola. Because and because it was the first time, it was mm-hmm. the most I wanted to also look after her basically, so it was that from that side, mm-hmm. from the food and showing the passion and to look after her compassion. Yeah.
And from that moment when you're like, I'm gonna cook for this woman, what did you think? She's still just a friend, or did you think this could potentially be something else?
In the first time I didn't think of anything really. I was just basically a friend, because basically I was difficult because mm-hmm. she's from a different background and got a lot of things different. Mm-hmm. The only thing in common was blood.
Both of you had red blood.
Red blood.
Okay. So what did your friends think when you were together, when you began dating?
So in Malawi, you basically don't become friends with a woman.
Okay.
So once you are friends, they start speculating that it's more than friendship.
Okay, right.
Yeah, because friendship between a man and woman doesn't exist in Malawi. So they started speculating, and so I was just ignoring them, whatever they were saying. They were trying to persuade me to say anything. I said, no, we are friends.
Yeah.
Of course, they started becoming jealous. Yeah.
Okay. How about yourself, Nicola? What did your family think? What did your friends in the UK think?
My family had a mixed reaction.
Okay.
My mum was really supportive. My dad took a bit of getting used to. My friends were happy and really confused. And then I went for 9 months. I stayed for just over 2 years.
Wow.
And we got married there.
Wow.
Yeah, in Malawi.
And my best friend came, and my mum came, and my stepmom came.
Yeah.
And
on my side was the
huge, the whole village.
Whole village, came. Yeah.
Okay, you said that with some feeling.
It was just a bit one-sided. But we couldn't have done it any other way because Tiwonge has 9 siblings, and so flying them to the UK would have been impossible.
Yeah.
And I wanted a blue sky in the photos.
Wow. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, so I get the blue sky. Yeah. So tell us, what was planning the wedding like? Tiwonge.
Honestly, it was difficult and stressful because in Malawi you don't send invitation for wedding. People just come. But in the UK you have to receive invitation.
Right.
So to convince Nicola of that was a bit of like blending two cultures of how weddings go about.
Right.
So eventually we came to a consensus to say that we'll still send invitations, but for lunch will be restricted for the people who have received the invitation, but then reception later on was open to anyone.
Wow.
Okay. So how did the planning go? Did you guys have to fly back and forth? Because I suppose you were both in Malawi at the time, right?
Yeah. So for me, it was stressful because we didn't know how many people were coming. We were trying to blend 2 cultures, so we tried to make the wedding a cross between an English wedding and a Malawian wedding.
So please tell me how. Please.
Different things. So we got married outside in a hotel complex, and it was very beautiful. And then we had a wedding breakfast, like a lunch together, which is quite an English thing. And it was a sit-down lunch with speeches.
Right.
And then in the afternoon it was all African
side.
So when
what does African mean? I'm from Zimbabwe, but
so
Malawi is foreign to me.
So with the weddings, like the reception side, people come dancing, throwing money, giving presents, dressing up in like traditional clothes. So that was it. In the afternoon,
I think we danced for 4 hours.
Wow.
In a pile of money. So
Okay.
people throw money the entire time. I don't know if it's the same in Zimbabwe.
No, I wish it was.
The Malawian kwacha is not worth a lot, and it's quite slippery to dance on. Having said that, it was lovely, and it was really fun, and my legs really ached for days afterwards.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And I asked Tiwonge for lessons beforehand because I was very nervous.
Okay, so it was like a traditional dance that you did?
Just African.
Just African. It was like a song by...
Not like English dancing, the kind of...
Two-step.
Yeah. It was all bums and hips, so I needed some tutoring.
Okay. This is absolutely fascinating. So how did your English contingent fare?
They had a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when the reception started, there was a bit like English. Then as the day was getting older, like with time, then I saw like her mom dancing, joining the group dancing. I think it was really interesting. Yeah, it was.
Did that mean a lot to you?
Yeah, it meant a lot because that meant like how she's basically, her family is accepting that we are getting married.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we jumped to the wedding, but I was interested. So, who proposed marriage?
I did.
Really?
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
So,
The baby crying in the background is currently being soothed by her mom, who's Nicola, who's going to tell us in a minute how she proposed.
So, Tiwonge was due to visit Malawi in May 2015.
To visit UK.
Yes. Oh, sorry, yeah. To visit UK. And he was going to ask my dad for permission. And I knew that. I was nervous about what my dad was going to say.
Okay.
And it was quite a wait, I think. It was January.
Yeah, it was January.
And Malawi was going through a series of long blackouts, load shedding. And I think we had a long blackout and we were sat in the dark, and I just felt touched and was thinking how much I loved him and how frightened I was that, you know, maybe it wouldn't be well received here. And I thought, I just had an idea, like a bolt of lightning. If I propose to him, he doesn't need to ask for permission. So I got down on one knee.
Oh, wow.
I asked Tiwonge to marry me in the dark.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, and how did that go, Tiwonge?
Yeah, I came as a shock because I didn't expect, because she told me that I have to ask her dad. So I was so surprised, but anyway, I also wanted to marry her. I loved her. So yeah, I said yes. Then we invited we had someone who was helping us in the gardening. So we invited him the same night we left it to have dinner at somewhere nice, to celebrate. And
also because we couldn't cook because we had to
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so she called her parents first. They were like emotional. I called my mom. Yeah, she was excited and
So I'm just curious. So you're from Malawi. How many different tribes are there in Malawi?
Oh my God, I haven't really thought about how many, but there are several. I'm from the northern part, and it could be 5, 6 tribes.
So what is your tribe?
Tonga.
Tonga.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Tonga.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Tonga people who came to Zimbabwe. Yeah. I can't speak a word of Tonga.
Okay.
But no, I was just curious. So in the Tonga tradition, is it typical for the woman to propose?
No, there's no any chance that a woman will propose.
Yeah. So would you say then that maybe you're a different kind of Tonga?
No, kind of a bit of mix, because my dad did a lot of traveling when he was working.
Okay.
He's been to several countries, so we grew up in
different countries.
No, not ourselves, but him. So we grew up in not a typical Tonga.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even for them, it was even easier to accept that I'm marrying. Because in Tonga, if you are marrying someone, the woman is expected to do basically everything for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the housework, while the man is like the garden work, growing things. Right. So yeah.
Okay. This is an interesting topic to go to. Maybe we can look at that in the next half of the program. We'll just next section of the program even. We'll have a break at this moment.
Yeah, so just a quick one. You are listening to Adventist Radio London. If you'd like to email in, please email studio@adventistradio.london, or if you'd like to text in, please text 82228, the word hope, a space, and then your message. So you are listening to Adventist Radio London. We're back with Nicola and Tiwonge, and we are talking about, well actually they're sharing with us their love journey. So we're going to continue. So we've had the meeting, we've had the wedding, the wedding's now happened and life begins together. tell us how that was for the first couple months.
So a bit that we realised we missed out in the first section was that I was not an Adventist when we met. After we decided to kind of see how it went together, we decided to live together in a capital city, which is Lilongwe. And we told most people around us that we were married because it's not really acceptable just to cohabit. Which caused a lot of confusion, of course, when we announced our marriage. But for the first few months, maybe 6 months that we lived together, I was still a drinking, smoking atheist. And Tiwonge was always held the Sabbath and always went to church, and I was okay with that, and we'd kind of agreed to differ. Sorry, my 18-month-old is trying to wreck the joint.
That's what you do at 18 months.
So we went to. So Tiwonge used to go to church on Sabbath, and I liked the idea of having some kind of time to clean the house, do my wifely duties. After some time, I started saying, "Oh, what happened at church? What happened at church? Like, what did they talk about?" And he said, "No, like you don't want to know." And I said, "I do want to know." I just because I was in love with him, and I thought there's this big difference between us. So I said to him one Sabbath, I said, "Can I come with you? I just want to see what it's like, see who your friends are." And so I went along with him, and I was really surprised that it wasn't what I expected. I was expecting us to be talked at the entire time, told what we believed, no questions, like no debate over how we felt, or and I guess no connection to real life between the Bible and real life. And I went, and I can't remember what the subject was, but I was really touched by it. I was the only white person in the church. I remained the only white person in the church. It was a very big congregation. So I went once, and I said, I think I will come with you again. I'm not sure if I went immediately the following Sabbath or not.
I think we were going.
It was really helpful because the pastor wasn't a super conservative man. His name is Pastor Conji. And he was very straightforward with me, and he said, "Do you drink?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Okay, I'll see you next Sabbath." And I kind of expected him to say, "Okay, come back when you're teetotal." And then I don't know how many more times I went, and I think we were on the way home one day from church, and I said, "I think at some point I want to be baptised." And I don't know how many weeks in I stopped drinking. I've never looked back. I've never wanted a drink since. Really difficult for my English atheist friends to understand that. I don't feel ever that I want a drink, and I've had stress in my life since, so all the triggers that I had before for drinking alcohol.
My question is, so Tiwonge, how was it for you in terms of you're going to church? Were you hoping that she'd want to come with you, or was it just, look, this is just her choice, this is what she wants to do, this is my choice, this is what I want to do, I'm not gonna force her to do something because she can make her own choices? Or
I mean, it was I think earlier in our relationship, she showed that she had no interest, and I think I talked something about God, and it sparked like a huge conflict between us. So I just stopped. Like, I'm not going to introduce this subject anymore. So whenever she was like that point when she asked me, I said no. I mean, you have to come. you don't want to because I knew that whenever I start, I'm so passionate about my Christian life. So I would go into detail, go deeper. So the deeper I was going, that was causing a lot of problems.
Right.
And so I didn't want to put any stress. I knew that God has His own way to work in someone.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just praying. Mine was just a prayer every day that one day she will accept the faith.
Yeah.
As an Adventist, I have to ask you this question. You dated a non-Adventist, not only a non-Adventist, but somebody who was smoking and drinking. What happened? Sorry, I couldn't resist that. You go on. What happened then? How did that come about?
I honestly, I don't know really because I was even a youth leader. I did the master guide.
Yes.
But
Which is like master guide is like Scouts for
leader.
Christian. Like a Scouts leader.
Yeah. So I don't really know what happened. I knew that it's a challenge because it's either I am going to go off my faith. So it's really difficult to explain that. I mean, it was a difficult decision for me because I really loved her. I mean, we started as friends, and when both of us we knew that I think we loved each other. I think it was difficult for me to just say no because you don't believe. But I knew that God works in His own, and He wants everyone to be saved regardless of who they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, you've got this journey. I know we've joined you at this point, which is pretty epic for us.
Yeah.
But now, you said, Nicola, you chose to get baptized. I mean, and even now, this Adventist culture. Tell me about how your family, how you were able to talk about this with your family.
So I was eventually baptised in the UK after we moved back.
Yeah.
Tiwonge went through the whole process with me, even though he was already baptised. And
so
after,
he studied with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had some Bible study in Malawi as well, and then we did the whole Bible study here.
Yeah.
And we were baptised in January.
December 2016.
Wow.
In church.
Yeah. And then Maya was born in November 2017, and then she was dedicated
26 July 2018.
Wow.
Photographic memory. And my family attended baptism and also attended Maya's dedication.
Yeah.
And are very supportive.
Brilliant.
My mum's been attending church sporadically where we live. She goes to Bury St Edmunds Church sometimes.
Wonderful.
We're praying for her and her husband.
Yeah.
I was brought up praying to God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of unspecified religion, I suppose.
Yeah.
My mum's family are Jewish.
Okay.
Descendants, but it was more a cultural thing than a religious thing.
Yeah.
And I think, like a lot of English, it is a Christian nation, but we tend to call on God in bad times and good times, and not in between.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it is. But I think for me, the first time I felt the presence of God in my life, I was. It's a whole different story, but I was 13 and I went to Africa for the first time.
Yeah. Was it Malawi again?
It was Kenya.
Kenya, okay.
And we went to the bottom of the Great Rift Valley.
Yeah.
And it was so big, and I felt so small.
Wow.
And it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's not an accident.
Yeah. This is it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. So your household right now, the English Jewish background in Malawi, Tonga. So what does that look like in your house?
I think it looks more British.
My house, when it is here.
Yeah, here.
No, I meant how do you run your home? Is what does your new culture, this blended culture, look like?
So, our house, we do things 50-50.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Which is, I think, confusing for everyone, actually. I
what
think.
does 50-50 mean? And
So
what does it look
we
like?
take it in turns to put our daughter to bed. We take it in
Okay.
turns to cook.
Yeah.
We take it in. Actually, I confess, I never do the ironing. Tiwonge loves ironing, and I'm not going to stand between him and his passion.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
you know, who am I? Let him get on with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think when we lived in Malawi, I remember very vividly an auntie coming up to me asking me why are you torturing your husband?
Wow.
This isn't fair. You know, look at the poor man, he's tired.
Well, what were you doing to him?
He
at
was
the time?
cooking.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That must have been excruciating for you too.
No, I mean, I grew up with
It's
all
just
the
normal.
boys that at home.
Yeah.
Like my mom made sure that everyone knows how to cook.
But it is
Yes.
unusual, right?
Yeah, it's very unusual, and even like nearby villages, we would be surprised, even pounding cassava to make
It's a
the
woman's
cassava
job.
meal.
Yeah.
Me and my brothers would do it, and people when they're passing by our house and see us, they were really like astonished to see that. So it's
Yeah.
really normal for me, like cooking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I think even in the UK, housework falls predominantly on the female,
Yeah.
especially outside of London. And so I think we've got quite unusual, you know,
Yeah.
and everyone's home is unique. So
Yeah.
But this is it, and I think we've mentioned this on some of the other shows, that you are creating your own culture now.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is who you are, and you're creating it so it works for you, and so that you're effective as a couple.
yeah, and I think now that we're parents, we're really conscious that we want Maya to have the expectation of
Right.
equality.
Right.
Both Tiwonge and I work.
Sorry, if you're hearing strange noises in the studio, do not be alarmed. We have a baby in the room, and we've just let her roam free. This is
Yeah.
what you get when you record on location.
Yes.
And this program is called Family
Family Matters.
Matters.
That's right.
So babies are welcome in a show. If you're thinking, I can't come onto the show because I have a little child, you are wrong. Bring your child along, and we'll find a way to make this happen. Okay, so 50-50. But that must be confusing. Well, how's your extended family? How have you been received as a couple?
So my dad holds Tiwonge up as some kind of modern hero.
Okay.
Isn't he great? Isn't he wonderful? Oh, good old Tiwonge. And I don't know whether he thinks, because he's never been to Malawi, that that's a Malawian thing, because he'd be very disappointed if he thought that.
Oh, because of how
Tiwonge
helpful
is.
he is around the
Yeah.
house. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're 50-50 and we all kind of have each other's backs. So
And was that a decision that you made on the outset, or did it kind of grow and you're like, actually, this is something we could do together, or was it just right? This is what we're going to do. Was it intentional or was it organic?
No, we didn't talk about it. It just started.
Yeah.
I think, you know, young love and everything, we wanted to be in each other's company all the time.
Yeah.
So I think initially probably I did a bit more of the cooking, and he was just always in the kitchen with me.
Okay.
And we both had to learn from each other. You know, I had to learn to cook some Malawian food, Tiwonge had to learn to cook
Yeah.
the bits of the English food that he likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some compromises. My husband is not keen on cold food.
Right.
Amen.
So cold buffet is out.
Amen.
Yes. So sandwiches.
What's the point?
No way.
What's the point of food? It's dinner.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first time he came to the UK, I think he snapped about a week in. He's like, I can't eat another sandwich. It's not food.
Give me some real food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I think I'm used to like lunches, like light lunch. Yeah, but back then when I just visited, it was really impossible for me to take a sandwich and say I'm full.
Yeah.
Because when you eat, you have to be full and have a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. Listen, we are on Adventist Radio London. We're having a really good time. And if you're interested in coming on the show, or if you've got any questions for us, please email in at studio@adventistradio.london or text in at 8228 the word hope with a space and then your message. So you are listening to Adventist Radio London. This is Brenna with Maxwell, and we're here with Nicola and Tiwonge, and this has just been an amazing story. Some people in your situations probably would have caved in and not got together or not continued their journey. What was it? Why did you continue? What was it that was driving you and keeping you together?
I think before we really got together we could be talking about relationships, what I think I dream of like a relationship. So whatever I was describing, I think was Nicola thought that that's not me.
Right.
But I knew that I think that could be the person. So it was a bit like I was worried as well on one side that we are just friends. I think it will be, and we work together. I think this is the wrong path I'm taking, I'm definitely screwed.
Right, because you wanted it to be the right path.
Yeah, I wanted it to be the right path.
Yeah, I think Tiwonge told me that he loved me on New Year's Eve, 2013.
Yeah.
To 2014.
To 2014.
We kind of did the countdown together because Malawi's an hour ahead.
2 hours.
It was 2 hours in the winter ahead. And we were talking on Skype, talking. I didn't know that he had walked really far to get a signal to talk to me.
Wow.
I didn't know this. His mum told me later. And we did the countdown, and we couldn't talk because the signal wasn't good enough. We were just typing, and sometimes waiting ages and then getting 20 messages at once.
Yeah.
And we're still friends at this point. And he said to me, he typed, I need to tell you something, but if you don't agree, you need to forget.
Okay.
And I said, okay, this should be funny.
Totally like in dialect.
So I was like, okay, tell me. And then he said, well, he typed, I'm in love with you. And I was very shocked and flew back to Malawi about 6 days later. Spent a week trying to convince him it was a bad idea. All in vain, because he doesn't give up on things.
No.
Yeah.
So how did you come around then?
So because she was not religious and then with different cultures, she said, look, this thing is not going to work.
Yeah.
To me, I said, it's going to work. We are human beings.
Yeah.
If it's not going to work, it's us who will not make it going. We are not going to make it to work. But if we are going to make it work, we are also the one. So I basically was addressing her doubts.
Right.
So that made her. That gave her at least a positive attitude. I suppose. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious now. So, in terms of your, have there been like any cultural faux pas where you think, oh, what is he doing? Oh, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Like, where do we begin?
Oh my goodness. Well, cold food.
Without maybe meeting family members or anything, any kind of protocol or...
I think after we decided to get married, we went to the village and met a lot of aunties and uncles. Tiwonge's mum had a motorbike, so we took the motorbike, and it's very rocky, and it was like kind of mountainous. And everywhere we went, somebody killed and cooked a chicken for us.
Wow.
but we were visiting several people a day, and they were expecting us to eat a chicken and then get back on the motorbike. And as a polite English lady, I felt like I couldn't say no.
Right.
But I was starting to feel a little bit ill. And I just remember being quite ill on the side of the road because I'd eaten about 5 chickens. And Tiwonge just being like, look, they just want to know you. Like, it's not about... and I think it was, it was difficult in the beginning because Tiwonge's family are very, very down to earth, and I immediately felt at home. But aunts and uncles, they're not used to seeing and being with English people or non-Malawians. And I was called Madame and...
Well, just spell it out. What are they not used to seeing?
White people.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, on my part...
White people with slippery hair. I was told several times I had slippery hair.
Yeah, on my part it was basically in Malawi, someone who is older than you don't call them by their name.
Right.
Yes.
So initially, Nicola would call my parents by their name. I said, no. You have to call them dad or mom as the way I call your parents. I think eventually it worked. So, yeah.
Yes, that's definitely a faux pas.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's
what about in terms of
disrespectful.
But you go around to it in the end, and then the family were happy.
Yeah. I think also just the idea of how many English people do we know where they say, "Oh, I don't like my mother-in-law,"
right?
And they see the families as quite separate. And in Malawi, that doesn't really happen. You become part of the family, and you're referred to as the daughter. And that was lovely, but also felt like quite a big thing.
Yeah.
So is there like involvement right now, like in your relationship, do you get involvement from extended family?
Yeah, so after mine was about 5 months when your parents came.
Yeah, 5 months.
And they stayed for 3 months. We've only got a 2-bed flat.
Wow.
Okay.
And I was expecting to be quite exhausted and need some space. And actually what happened was we had such a lovely time and I bawled my eyes out the day they left.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted them to stay forever.
Yeah.
And as I said, so Tiwonge's parents, between them, have 6 children and 10 children together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you can't shock my mother-in-law. And like she's seen it all, and she's brought up so many children and grandchildren, and she was such a huge help with Maya because she never panics.
Right.
Okay.
So you really saw the benefit in that whole thing about community, bringing up your children and being a family. That's brilliant.
So I'm going to ask this to you, Tiwonge. When you had your mum in the house and your wife in the house, who was the boss?
Pretend I'm not here.
I think there was my mom would suggest on something, and there are more people who also respect a lot.
Yeah.
So they respect me and Nicola as the owners of the house, regardless of if they have an opinion on anything. They will respect whatever decision we make.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there wasn't. So I think they were more on giving us like a chance that we are adults and going to have the house.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because sometimes family members can interfere and mess up young people's lives. Yeah.
So one of my questions is, right, you've been through all of these things. How do you support each other? Is it, some people just have humour where they will just laugh at the situation, it's like, okay, yeah, that happened, do you remember that? That was hilarious, you did that, oh my goodness, I can't believe. Do you have these moments where you might have a kind of a meeting like, right, this happened, how are we going to deal with this? How do you kind of deal as a family with the cultural differences or things that come about? Is it a set conversation or you just roll with it?
think rolling. I think.
We haven't got time, have we?
I think the only bit we didn't plan well is because my culture where I come from, if I'm earning enough money to support my siblings, I should be able to do that, like pay for the school fees so that they can get the education.
Right.
I think that's the huge part, which I didn't expect Nicola to accept that.
Right.
But it's just naturally, I think she's the most kindest person as well. I mean, that we are able to send a chunk of money to support my family in Malawi on every month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the bit we sit together is when we are discussing about finances, like because we are also
accountants.
we are in finance, so we plan like way in advance of how much we are spending the whole year.
Yeah. But I think for you, that's a blessing that you can be in agreement with something like that, because I know that causes a conflict in some families with, family income being used for the extended family, so that really, really is a blessing.
It's really a huge blessing.
So when he dropped that bombshell on you, what was your initial reaction?
That he loved me.
No. That he would have to be sending money back home.
I think he always did. When we first were friends, I was aware that he was paying for his brother's university.
So you knew what you were getting yourself into.
To some extent. I think, it's not just that we discussed though. I think we might be unusual in that we don't watch a lot of TV in the evenings. We talk a lot. We don't get bored of talking. And the best advice we had, Tiwonge's brother is a pastor in Malawi. The best advice I think we were given was on our wedding day by him, and he told us, you've just got married, you must do everything together. You bathe together, you sleep together, you do everything together until you feel like you're one, and then you'll be okay. And so we talk as much as possible. So in the mornings, we both work full time, but in the mornings we get on the train together, we talk, and then Tiwonge gets off and delivers Maya to the childminder. Rarely do we travel home together. As soon as Myra's in bed, we talk. It's I go to work and they say, "Oh, did you see this show last night?" It's really rare that we've got the TV on. I think it's really important to be really honest with each other all the time, even about disagreements.
There's an obvious chemistry between you two, because even when you were talking about we talk, if I could write music, I would have put a piece of music to that, because there was definite chemistry there. It's fantastic how you guys are close and how you seem to be able to communicate, even non-verbally. What advice, if any, Tiwonge, would you give to somebody considering marrying or entering into a relationship outside of their culture?
First is you have to understand one's culture, and what causes more conflict, I think, if you are from different cultures, is where you pick on something for the other culture which you don't really like. But I think you should allow room so that you all meet together, because it's difficult to leave that part of culture. I mean, you grew up, you only meet in the later stage of your life, but you grew up in a different culture. I think so you should be accepting to meet on the middle, because you both have got different cultures, you grew in different environments, different families, so you should be able to accept to meet on the middle. I mean, cause sometimes you can be pushed to the other side, but you should know that it always works.
Brilliant, thank you. What about you?
I think for me it's about echoing your brother's advice to do everything together, not to be shy around each other about anything.
Yeah.
Quite early on in our relationship, I was very ill,
Wow.
and Tiwonge cared for me, and we had no secrets after that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think I don't understand couples that don't share finances because you're married. You should be joined in everything.
Yeah.
And you don't have a choice about whether or not you like your partner's
Right.
family.
Right.
They are now your family, and you
Okay.
must accept them. And it is not your choice to make as to whether or not you want to talk to them or anything like that. I think. I mean. I'm really lucky. Tiwonge's got such a fantastic family. It's never been an issue, but if it was, I'd make sure it wasn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I'd just have to grin and bear it.
Yeah, and Nicola, same to me. Nicola's family is really fantastic. I mean, I love all her parents. She's got a sister. I love her as well. Yeah. And we always go to visit them, and I don't even feel that I shouldn't go there to visit. All the holidays, all the bank holidays, if possible, we go to see them.
Yeah.
The only thing for me that was slightly strange when we got together is Tiwonge's an identical twin.
Oh, wow.
And they're really, really identical.
Wow.
They have a different voice. I think Tiwonge's got a lower voice.
No, the voice as well. Sometimes I can record something on the phone.
Yeah.
When I'm listening, I thought he recorded it.
They've got a similar walk.
Mm.
I was quite upset when I met him formally for the first time. I was confused. And, I'm really lucky. Everyone asked me, have you ever confused them? Yes. Once, and we never talk about it. And it was very awkward. And actually, he's never spoken. Tiwonge's brother has never spoken about it. It's not as bad as all that, but
Well, obviously, because this is a family show.
he was staying with us in Lilongwe, and he was walking down the corridor, and his back looks a lot like Tiwonge's back, and I jumped on his back, and I just felt him stiffen up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I have to climb down.
Literally.
And we've never spoken about it.
Fantastic.
he
Well,
never
till
told
now.
me.
Till now.
No, I think I went directly to you and I said, I've just done something terrible.
Yeah, you told me, but he has never told me that happened. Yeah.
It's one of those things, we just buried it.
Yeah. Oh. Well, guys, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. We're so grateful that you've, given us a bit of time, and Maya as well playing there. We thank you so much. This is a Family Matters show. My name's Ruth Maxwell,
And I'm Brian Maxwell.
and we just look forward to doing this all over again with another couple. If you are interested, please email us in at studio@adventistradio.london or text in at 82228, the word hope and the space, and then your message.
Thank you, Tiwonge and Nicola.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.